We're going to talk about roots and rational expressions in this section. We are pretty familiar with the square root, but in this section we're going to talk more about other types of roots. The basic definition is that if a to the nth power is equal to b, then a, the number, the base, a is an nth root of b. That means a is the number that if you raise to the nth power, it becomes b. So for example, 5 to the third power is 125, and we can say that 5 is nth, the third root of 125, because 5 is a number that if you raise to the third power, you get 125. Also, 1 to the second power is 25. We all know this. So we can say 5 is a square root of 25. We know also negative 5 square is 25 as well. So negative 5 is also a square root of 25. So we notice that both 5 and negative 5 are the square roots of 25. That means 25 has two square roots. It has two square roots, whereas 125 has only one third root. There's only one number that if you raise to the third power, you get 125. Because if you raise negative 5 to the third power, you will get negative 125, not positive 125. So we know that even root, if you have even number of power, then you always have two nth roots. So let's look at other example. So when n is even, then there are two roots. Cube root of 27, that means what number raised to the third power equals to 27? Well, we know x, that's only one number, which is 3. Negative 3 wouldn't work because negative 3 to the third power would be negative 27. Square root of 9, that means number square equals to 9. We know there are two numbers. One is 3, the other is negative 3. If you raise both of them to the second power, you will get 9. Fourth root of 16, that means a number, if you raise to the fourth power, you get 16. What are the numbers? Well, we know 2 to the fourth power is 16. Also, negative 2 to the fourth power is 16. If you actually raise negative 2 to the fourth power, that's negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. This one is 4. That one is also 4. So it becomes 16. Cube root of negative 8. So number to the third power equals to negative 8. That number is negative 2. See how when it's the odd number of roots, then the sign is the same. Here it's positive and positive, negative and negative. And we only have one root. Okay, square root of negative 4. So we have to find the number. If you square it, you get negative 4. Well, there's no such number, because if you square any number, it's going to end up with positive number unless it's imaginary. So we are talking about real number here. So we can say there's no such x. So we know that the even root of a negative number does not exist. Okay, square root of 10 is a number that if you raise to the second power, you get 10. Well, we know there are two types of this number. They are positive root 10 and negative root 10. Cube root of negative 1. A number raised to the third power equals to negative 1. Such number is negative 1. Okay, let's go over these two examples. Square root of 0.01 means a number square equals to 0.01. What number, if you square it, you get 0.01? Well, that's 0.1, right? 0.1 times 0.1 is 0.01. Also, if you square negative 0.01, you still get 0.01 because it's second power, so negative disappears. So we have two answers. Square root of 121 over 36. What number raised to the second power equals to 121 over 36? Well, 121 is 11 squared, so 11 over 6. If you square it, it will be 121 over 6. Also, if you square negative 11 over 6, it will be this number. So we have two answers as well, because we are talking about even roots. Let's move on to the next page, which is just kind of opposite way of saying what we were just talking about. If a to the nth power is b, then we can also say a is nth root of b. So for example, if you have a square is 1, then we can say 1, this number 1 is square root of 1. When you're talking about 2 squared equals 4, we can say this 2 is same thing as square root of 4. 4 squared is 16. We can say 4 is equal to square root of 16. 6 squared is 36. 6, this number is equal to square root of 36. 7 squared is 49. 7 is the square root of 49. 1 cube is 1. So now we can say 1, this one is equal to the cube root of 1. So notice that I have this little number, small number next to the root. That means that's the index. That's the n. Here we don't really have such index. It means if you don't see any index, that means it's a square root. Small 2 is hidden here. We often don't write 2 on our square root because this is square roots are so common. So now we're gonna use this number, index number. 2 to the third power is 8. So we can say 2 is a third root of 8. 3 to the third power is 27. So we can say 3 is the cube root of 27. So I want you to be familiar with this kind of notation. 4 cubed is 64, so that means 4 is the cube root of 64. 5 to the third is 125. 5 is the cube root of 125. 2 to the fourth, that's 2 to the third, which is 8 times 2, which is 16. Now this 2, the base, is equal to the fourth root of 16. 10 to the fourth power, 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 is 10,000 with 4 zeros. So that means 10 is the fourth root of 10,000. Okay, a few more example. What is the square root of 0.04? We know that's 0.2, because if you raise 0.2 to the second power, that equals to 0.04. So the answer would be 0.2. What is cube root of negative 8? So what to the third power equals to negative 8? Well, we know that's negative 2. Negative to the third power equals to negative 8. Therefore, the cube root of negative 8 equals to negative 2.